So last time we made a video, we were talking about us moving to Scotland. Well, a lot has changed in the last month. We are now on day 5 billion of being locked down. And with being locked down, a lot of stuff's changed, a lot of issues, but we decided it's time to update you guys with a new video. With a big international move, one of the important things is making sure you have all your documentation. So today, we're gonna work on getting our babies their first passports. First thing you're gonna need is a baby. Don't put them in that. Okay, much better. If you're going to the trouble of making your own passport pictures, at least make sure they're wearing something cute. Then you're going to need another baby. What did I say about... Okay, that's fine. Next, you need a plain white backdrop. You can use a blank wall. I chose to use the Westcott X-Drop backdrop system. It's a stretchable white fabric, and instead of using a backdrop stand, I just clamp it to the counter and stretch it down to the floor. In order to make the background go completely white, you need to light it. You can use constant lights, but I chose to use speed lights. I use the cheap Godox TT600 flashes, and I put one on the backdrop and one in a softbox. Now before you get all gung-ho and go start taking pictures, it's worth taking a moment just to look up the requirements, as they might have changed. Make sure you go to your actual government's website instead of a third party for the most accurate and up-to-date information. Here you'll see the basic requirements, but it will also give you information about the resolution, print size, etc., and also the size that the head has to be in the photo. That is very important, because children might not be as easy to work with as adults. There is a section, at least on the US website, about how to deal with infants and what different requirements they have for child passport photos. So it's still definitely worth taking a look just to make sure you get all the information you need. They also have a tool where you can upload your photo and have them crop it for you. Once you've finished all your research and prep work, it's time to shoot. I used a bumbo to hold them up, but if they're old enough, they could just sit up. You could also just lay them on the floor and shoot that way. One important thing to remember is that they need to face the camera directly. So you might have to take some extra time to get their attention where their head is straight onto the lens and not looking to the side or smiling or laughing too crazy. And then you take it into the edit suite. I use Adobe Lightroom, but you can also use other editing programs. Keep in mind the photo requirements when you're editing your photos. For example, I love this picture here, but her head is a little bit to the side, and while I think it would probably be approved, I don't want to risk it. So here's the photo I've decided to use for Ellie. Next, I'll go on to Cooper. Now with Cooper's sitting position, some of the photos were darker than I'd like them to be around his eyes. This is what I decided to use because it's got a good neutral expression, even lighting, and his face is straight onto the camera. Now you do have to be careful with your editing. Mainly color correction is all I would do. I like the Fuji built-in film simulations, and for this one I decided to use Provia because it's the most neutral style and it still looks good. Now the background in this photo might look white, but it's actually not pure white. In Lightroom there's a button by the histogram where it will show you all of your overexposed highlights in red. Now if I go down and undo the highlight adjustments I made, you'll see it's not all blown out, so you just want to bump those highlights up a little bit so that the background is pure white. Make sure the rest of your image looks fine though. Next up is the crop. Now the US passport photo is 2 by 2 inches, which is a 1:1 ratio. So on the right side, make sure your crop dialog is set to 1 by 1 square. You might have to play around with the crop a little bit in order to make sure the head itself is not too big or too small in the photo. Now, if you go over to the print dialog in Lightroom, first you want to go down to hit page setup and and make sure that the paper size is set to 4x6 borderless. Click OK. Next, you want to go to the top right and click on Picture Package. Once you have Picture Package selected, go down to Cells and you want to add a 2x2 inch cell to the package. I add it 6 times so it fills up a complete 4x6 page. Once you're done with those settings, click on Printer. Make sure that your printer is selected and make sure the settings are all set up. Make sure quality is on best and just hit print. Now the moment we've all been waiting for.
Came through dripping Aquafina, I'm sipping 15, kept a weapon on me. Blow make bitches, I'm on my business, stack chicken like what it's gon' be. Crew in the cut, you want us red run when I tell a bit piece. Lab till I'm finished, had a handful of lemons through the hand, got a bag, now the hands in the business. For my hand, it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it.
Now that you have your badass prints, all that's left to do is cut them up. The first thing you're gonna need is a cool table to cut the photos on. Next, you'll need a chainsaw, or you could use one of these craft cutters like I'm doing. Just slide the photo in and cut along the line where you can see the edge of the photo. You need to be really careful that you're exact with this because the pictures have to be exactly 2x2 inches. Now there are 6 copies of the picture on one 4x6 print. However, you will only get 4 usable passport photos, and here's why. After you cut all the photos out, you will see that the bottom 2 are about 1/8 of an inch shorter than the rest of them. It's a good idea to break out a tape measure or ruler just to make sure that the pictures are the exact dimensions and that the head in the photos are also the exact dimensions required. So there you have it, how to make passport pictures by yourself at home. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments. Please like and subscribe. And until next time, bye for now.